Hi there and welcome to the December Redden District Angling Association Fisheries Feedback, and of course Happy New Year. As you can see, we're in a brand spanking new, almost complete Kennet hatchery. We had planned to record this at Farnham Flint down at the hut, but with the Kennet floodwaters rising and all our lakes joining together, we thought it would be a bit irresponsible to be seen to go down to the hut when we've been encouraging anglers to stay away. So this is why we're at the hatchery, and that's no bad thing. Then we will have all our usual news and features. We'll be having reports from Jim and from Dell, and of course the fishing picture competition, and in particular the Fish of the Month competition. Got some interesting entries, and in particular I want to say thank you to Angling Direct, who have agreed to continue their sponsorship of the competition for 2024. So there'll be another 12 monthly winners which will get an RDAA trophy and a £50 tackle voucher, in addition to the main prize, which is voted on by members at the end of each calendar year. So that's enough from me. Let's get on with it. Okay, Dale, well, what a moment to be talking about fisheries report. Most of our fisheries have all joined together.
Yeah, it's quite easy, yeah. We're only running one water. It's, oh, mate, I thought we'd done with all of this, but yeah, I've spent most of the day today running around. We have an issue over at Cottage Lane, where the new Green Park station is, with a blocked culvert, and what it's doing is it's backing all the water up because it just simply can't get away underneath the railway, and it's flooding all of our lakes. They would have been high anyway, in fairness.
But they're higher than they need to be, yeah?
Yeah, but they're, you know, it's causing a bit of an issue. Hopefully, after many emails and phone calls and even a plea on the local radio this morning, we should get a bit of action, because it's out of our hands, really. You know, we're relying on other people to do things, which is always a bit of a bugbear of mine. But
well, I mean, you got me writing to the head honchos at West Berkshire Council, and it just occurred to me while I was sending the email, as a fishing club, we shouldn't be having to do this, should we? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that, you know, Redden District, we're a major. Well, I like to think we're a major player in the community, particularly around sort of Pingewood, because we own so much property around there, etc. And, you know, I feel that we wouldn't be doing our duty if we weren't sort of trying our best to help our neighbours out, as well as obviously helping ourselves out.
But what annoyed me about the whole thing, and we'll put some maps up and show people what we're talking about, is, you know, that railway line and the new £20 million, as you said on the radio, the Green Park station, that is a massive bund, and that is stopping the floodwater moving east. And yet, back in 2012, 2013, we had much worse floods than we've got now.
Yeah.
And it was identified that that culvert was key, that it be kept clear in order to allow the whole system to drain down.
Yeah.
And they've just not done what they said they should do 9 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, that's the frustrating sort of thing about it. And, you know, these sorts of things, they're only a problem when they become a problem. So for the last 10 years, it hasn't been a problem. Now it's a problem. And, you know, it's a lack of foresight, and, you know, councils up and down the country, the Environment Agency, you can point the finger at many, many associations and organisations that, you know, through lack of funding, cutbacks, call it what you like, take the eye off their ball, you know, off the ball. And it's unfortunate, but we're hopeful that we'll get a resolution to it.
Well, yeah, I'm hopeful too. Well, let's move on to something positive. Let's just remind people that we've got our open day coming up in July on Saturday the 20th with David Seaman, Jamie Cook. We're still hoping to get some other guests, and we're also hoping that the Flint car park will have dried out.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully we won't need our wellies. I mean, it was bad enough last year. If this continues, it'll be even worse. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's hard work. The run up to, you wouldn't believe the amount of work that goes into it the week prior, and even to be on some months prior. But, you know, when you sort of sit there on the day and you see all the different sorts, and the thing I love about the open day is the massive broad spectrum of society that's there. And, you know, that's for me what fishing is all about. Well, it crosses so many boundaries.
We've always said it's about building communities, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't told you this, but I've actually already had people bothering me about getting car boot places for this year. So you know, open day will be happening Saturday 20th of July. I will make an announcement in the next few weeks, so you can book your car boot slots. Please make a note in your diaries. It will happen, we assure you.
And if you've got any nice reels, pass them my way first.
Okay. Now, other things. We mentioned last month that you and Jim had to suspend, quite rightly, the work on the otter fence at Wiley's, because I mean Wiley's is completely inundated with water, isn't it?
Yeah, best laid plans and everything. Wiley's is, I dread to think what it's like today, to be honest. I went up there on Tuesday. I had a meeting up there on Tuesday because we've changed our plans a little bit, and we're going to treat it more of as a major project as opposed to just an otter fence, which it originally was going to be. There's water coming in from the riverbank, there's water coming in from the lake next door, there's water coming in from the ditch in the front of the old bowling alley. So we've got 3 points of ingress, if you like, but we've only got one point of sort of exit. You struggle, or I struggled on Tuesday to get round the lake in sort of wellies. I would think you could up that to thigh waders and above today. One good thing is, you know, we haven't got to carp are the big issue when you have floods. Carp are very inquisitive, and any little sniff of an escape route and bump, they're away. We haven't got too many carp in Wiley's, and the ones that are in there, we've been trying to get out for years.
No, it might be a
it may well be a blessing in disguise, but the tension, things like that, you know, that they tend to sort of sit down, and they're not quite as sort of inquisitive, if you like, as the carp. So hopefully the remaining stock of tench will stay in there. We're not overly concerned about losing fish out of Wiley's, because the whole plan of what we want to do is we want to revitalise it. We were going to have a massive stocking programme in there, everything anyway. So
let's get the fencing up first.
Yeah, exactly. So we're having a bit of a rethink. A lot of it depends on permissions and things like that, but the idea that the otter fence will be up and everything will be hunky-dory by the summer is sort of moved back. It'll probably move back another year. But we want to get it right, and we want to get it right first time. So
well, that makes a lot of sense. Well, let's just move on to the hatchery. This is the first time I've been in since you've painted the floor about 5 different coats. Is it actually complete now?
Yes, bar a little bit of, would you believe, this is an agricultural building, it's a steel building, it's 10 metres by 10 metres, and I found out on Tuesday evening that we've got to have emergency lighting in case we have a fire to meet current regs. So that's something that's now added to our list. The fact that we've got 14,000 litres of water is irrelevant.
Yeah, you struggle to burn this place down.
Exactly. But, you know, look, we want to, as I said right from the outset, this is going to be an all singing, all dancing, right up to spec, latest, up-to-date stuff. So we want to get everything right. So, yeah, we're going to be putting in emergency lighting, would you believe? So we got that to do. We've got a few little odds and sods just to sort out that we're not quite happy with. Other than that, it's finished. I mean, we've had it all running, the whole lot, everything running. Right. And it works how we sort of, I mean, yeah, it works how we imagined it would do. We didn't have too many leaks. So yeah, odds and sods, I reckon if I was to start work on it tomorrow morning, come Tuesday next week, it would be finished.
Brilliant.
So we're there.
Well, it's looking great. So just to let people know, there will be an official opening. We will announce that in due course, and there will be an opportunity for people who are long-time supporters of the project, long-time supporters of the club and the Kennet in general, to come and have a look round, because once Dell's got it up and running, it becomes biosecure. We can't have any visitors in here. So there will be some opportunities before we're up and running in mid-March for people to come and visit, and all the details will be announced on our Facebook and on our website. So that's fair
yeah,
enough.
that's it. And there won't be an entrance fee, but there will be an exit fee. So, you know, bring plenty of money. If you come up for an open day, bring some money. There will be a pot by the door, and we will expect some silver to go into it.
Okay, we've actually got slightly more professional fundraising plans other than that, but you know, never hurts to rattle the bucket. Lastly, Dale, I think we should probably just announce the date of the Fisheries Forum. We've had one of these for the last 3 years, very successful. That will be on the 21st of March at the Bradfield Cricket Club. Again, details in the usual places. So another date for your diary, 21st of March, Redland District Fisheries Forum. That, I think, probably concludes our fisheries report. Unless you've got anything else to add? No, you happy with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's been fairly busy, but for all the wrong reasons. So yeah, hopefully next month there'll be a bit more pleasant.
Well, let's move on to our Fish of the Year competition. I announced that Angling Direct are continuing their sponsorship, and we're grateful for that. We've got a strange one this time. We're going to award the December Fish of the Month, so it's the last one of the 12, to Daniel. I hope I pronounced this right. It's Asancescu. Dan, I apologise if you got your name wrong, for this 7.5 pound zander. We have not had a zander entered before. No. We have got very few lakes with zanders. With zander in them. In fact, we've got no lakes.
No lakes. No.
All we've got is zander that are coming from the Thames. Yes, technically they're an invasive species, but they've certainly been acclimatised in this country for the best part of 50 years, and they've got a growing band of followers, haven't they?
Yeah, and what an impressive fish they are.
Certainly
it's on my list to try and get one. I mean, I can remember many years ago, the only place you could catch them was Cambridge, and lots of people were off that way trying to catch them.
Yeah.
But now they seem to have come to us, which is, you know.
Well, I did a bit of research on this. It appears that they've come down the Oxford Canal because they're quite prevalent in there, and then they've entered the Thames, which I think is why you're seeing them around the Oxford part of the Thames and less so around the middle reaches. Anyway, Dan, congratulations on your Fish of the Month. If you get in touch with me, we'll arrange for you to get your £50 Angling Direct voucher and your trophy. And I imagine there'll be a few people that want to bend your ear, hints and tips on zander fishing. But let's just remind people, Del, dead baiting, which is how Dan catches his zander at Wallingford, that is not allowed until when?
That's, we ban bait fishing, so dead bait, live bait, dead bait fishing from April through till October. So in April to October, it's lures only. And I know they can be caught. I know they were catching them up on the 7 on lures and drop shot stuff. So it's not impossible. However, I think your time would be better spent doing something else that time of the year.
Yeah, well, anyway, interesting fish, and so that concludes our Fish of the Month for 2023. interesting medley of different fish species there. Which one have you chosen?
Right, again, this is a photograph competition, not necessarily a big fish competition and what have you. And I think the one I'm going to choose, and I'm going to go down the same route as you. We've been practicing this for the last half an hour at least. Daniel Zawisza.
Very good.
I think that's somewhere near it. Apologies if it's not. For his perch. Cracking photo, you know, it says everything you need to say about going fishing, really. Everyone loves a perch. They lend themselves to a nice photograph, and you know, that's as good as they get.
Well, I think that's a worthy winner. And can we just highlight, as we usually do, a couple of fish? I've obviously pulled out that grayling because I knew you wouldn't let the day go past.
They're close to my heart, the old grayling, and it's such a shame that Mick didn't get his ugly mug in it, because he might have won it, won another prize. I mean, that's a crack. I mean, what a cracking fish that is. And you know, we're increasingly getting emails about grayling fishing on the Lower Kennet now. So the word is actually getting out that these things are sort of swimming around.
And this was down at Burfield, right?
Yes, yeah. So
that's come quite a long way from Upper Benyons.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we stock Upper Benyons and the Osier bed.
Right.
So it's probably worked its way down from there. And you know, I mean, as I think I've said before, the whole idea of this is to try and establish or re-establish a sustainable stock. I mean, that's a breeding fish. So that's a very, very, very precious fish. So it's fantastic to see them.
No, well, I'm really pleased. And the one I pulled out is Nigel McLaughlin. Nigel has really enjoyed his time. I think he's a relatively recent member of Redland District. He's had some cracking fish. It's been very difficult barbel conditions, but he managed to get it right and caught, I think it's the only barbel we had submitted of any size, of 13.1. So, again, well done, Nigel. And look forward to seeing more of your fish next year.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, it just goes to show, you know, put a bit of effort in, even at this time of the year. And the rewards are there, albeit fleeting, they are there.
Well, you know how much I love my Thames chub fishing. Do you know how many hours my chub rods have been out on the Thames this winter?
Yeah, probably about 4.
Less than 4, 3.
Yeah,
it's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it in last month's video. I think you're going to be hard pushed to fish the Thames with any seriousness this year. I think it's, you know, I think it's written off now, but it's a shame.
We can but hope. Okay, Dale. Well, thanks very much for that, and we'll see you next month.
Yep, will do.
Well, we've got Jim Stansfield, our Deputy Fishery Officer, joined us straight from the flooded river. Jim, I understand, before we get on to your fishing prospects for the month of January, you've actually been enhancing fish stocks in one of our waters. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, recently, it was probably actually the start of the month, we had just over 100 bream going into the Brownlee pool. The bream were sort of 10 to 12 inch fish, so they're pretty cormorant proof, to be fair. They might get the odd one or two, but we don't want to be getting sort of small skimmers like this. When you're getting those sort of fish, you need to get them of sort of 10 inch plus to make them cormorant proof. Obviously we've got the fish refuges in Brownlee Pool as well, so they'd have sort of found their way into there and they'll be pretty sheltered. But come the springtime, there's going to be an absolutely cracking place to be going down there just with a float rod or a feeder rod, a few hours, and it's just going to keep those bites coming, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, the last stock in a bream we put in there was very popular with the members, wasn't it?
Yeah, the last lot were just slightly a bit bigger than them, but through the summer months they've been getting caught and that, so yeah, they're coming through nice. And Brownlee's the sort of place you don't want to be just pumping loads of fish in there at once, so every sort of year it's just nice to trickle a few in, just keep that biomass to a sort of stable level. But if you go in there and you just dump hundreds of fish in there at a time, it can turn over overnight.
That's right. No, it's one place we always had to be a bit wary about fish kills, wasn't it? So moving on to prospects for the month of January. I mean, I hesitate to even ask the question when the rivers are in the fields and the lakes have all joined together and the rest of it. But we've seen some decent pike, we've seen some decent perch. We've also encouraged people to be very careful as to where they choose to go fishing.
Yes.
What's your advice for the short term and for the long term in terms of January?
Well, for short term, it's going to be some of the canal venues. Lots of the main body of the River Kennet has sort of burst its banks in a lot of areas, and I reckon it's going to be like for a couple of weeks still. So a few of our canal venues you'll still be able to get access to, as long as you can get down the roads, that is. Places like sort of East Towney, Salmon Cut would probably be all right there. With places like that, you've got sort of the main body of water goes off around the backwaters, and the canals are quite steady through those sections.
And of course, Foxfield's perched much higher than the actual floodplain, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it would take an awful lot for Foxfield to be unfished.
Yeah, Foxfield's brilliant. Again, and perch fishing and pike fishing, Foxfield is a great place to be for those.
Yeah, well, that's good. So in the longer term, what else for the month of January?
It's going to be your pike fishing this month, I'd say. I've seen a lot of guys sort of out dead baiting, lots of guys wandering around with lure rods, and pretty much every person I've been speaking to, they've all been catching fish. That's across all the pits as well. And even some of the underfish pits, places like Moatlands are worth a look. There's a good head of pike in there, and actually some good clonking perch as well.
And when the river does subside, I'm not sure the Thames will subside in January, but when it does, presumably places like Sonning are always worth a go.
Yes, yeah, definitely will be. Yeah, Sonning. I've not actually been up there for a little while, but in the past I know people that after those you've had those big floods up there, it can be a great time to get up there once that river's really fining down. Get up there with a feeder rod, get that feed going, and you can have a cracking day's fishing there. You'll catch all sorts up there as well. And
of course, we've got a cold snap coming up, so the barbel will be off the menu. But once that water starts to clear, there's going to be a chance of some decent chub from the Kennet again, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, and again, the chub fishing in the Kennet in the last couple of years has just been phenomenal. There's £6 fish getting caught weekly along the Kennet, and the Thames £7 weekly. I'm quite sure of it, probably.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for those tips, and thanks very much for the efforts in making Brownlees an even better mixed fishery.
Yep, it should be good. Hopefully see some of them bream coming out in the spring.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Okay, thanks for that, Jim. And as Jim said, we are going to need to take a lot of care out there. We've had some pretty dramatic and potentially dangerous weather conditions. So all that remains for me to wish you all the best for the coming month. Please enjoy your fishing when it is safe to do so. There are still some great fish to be caught in our waters, so take it easy, tight lines.